Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Wait, What Are We Talking About podcast, episode 201. My name is Bret, aka Enigma9011. You can catch the podcast live over on twitch.tv/Enigma9011. You can drop a follow over there. You get notified when we go live, so you join in on the fun conversation and discussion. But if you can't catch it live, that's A-OK. Go over to YouTube or podcast services the very next week, where it's broken out topic by topic and put as one big video and MP3 for your amusement on the following Friday. Last but not least, if you want to support the channel just a little bit more, anywhere where you're watching this, listening to it, whatever it is, you can drop a follow, subscription, whatever you can on the platform of choice. It seems small, but does help the channel grow. So if you take the time to do that, we would love and appreciate you for it. So we got two topics today with the solo podcast. Let's just jump into it because I can't hold the excitement anymore. We're going to jump into our first topic and talk about WWE2K24. As of recording, they dropped information today, galore, with the announcement trailer, the covers, details on new things they've added, things they've adjusted. Obviously, only tip of the iceberg just because it's still early on, but I wanted to dive into what they've released for us here today, talk about what's cool, speculate on some other stuff, and go on into it. So, in case you don't know, so 2K24, we have a release date of March 8th for the Standard Edition, March 5th for the pre-order, the Deluxe, and the special one, which we'll get into. We do have 3 covers. For your base game, cover superstar is going to be Cody Rhodes. Not a big surprise there, trying to finish his story. And then for the Deluxe, we got a fun surprise. We got Rhea and Bianca kind of sharing the cover there. So the two ladies are going to be covering for the Deluxe. And then our first big announcement, which the social media team leading up to today's reveal, we're hinting a lot of stuff, and obviously the internet being the internet and the fandom, a lot of speculation. What do these images mean? We got a referee shirt as Moose peels out over here. We got a referee shirt. We got a knight armor set. We had Cena post a NWO shirt with a pirate logo. I feel like there was 2 other images, at least like bigger ones, other than just generic hype from superstars with like the 2K24 logo. A lot of people are speculating like match types, or is this going to be a Mania thing with the showcase, kind of akin to 2K14 with the 30 years. We're obviously on the 40th anniversary. Is it going to be that? God damn it, they're doing it. They decided to go a different route with the showcase this year. They are doing 4 years of Mania. So let me see. 2K Showcase of the Immortals. I'm reading pretty much off the article from WWE.com, if you guys want to reference that later. So 2K Showcase of the Immortals. For 40 years, WrestleMania has captivated millions of fans around the globe, blah, 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 from different moments, yada, yada, yada. The 2K Showcase, 2K24 Showcase of the Immortals puts the players in control, playing through the most iconic moments in WrestleMania history as 2K's distinctive slingshot tech seamlessly morphs gameplay into live action footage and back again for the most immersive WrestleMania video game experience to date. A host of unlockable content adds challenge and replay value to this historical experience. So, let's just start with that one. So, very cool that they're doing that. No offense to Cody. He hasn't had the most memorable career in WWE. Like a Cody showcase, I don't think would have been all that exciting. Just alone in the WWE. Obviously, outside of WWE, he's made some more waves. But just yet, he hasn't gotten that. So, in comparison to past superstars like the Rey Mysterio showcase, the John Cena showcase, or rather beat Cena, like, that makes more sense to kind of go with them. But to go this route, obviously the anniversary and everything, it's great. And I know we already did it with 2K14, but with it being 10 years ago, it's just exciting because it's not, oh, we're playing the same person every match. You know, we mixed it up a little bit this year with the beating Cena in all these different matches. We're playing as different superstars, wrestlers, etc. But this is just going to add more fun because obviously the legends to it and different matches for the showcase. Now, with every positive, we got to be a little, not negative, but speculative. I believe in 2K14, and I'm looking it up right now, we got a match per WrestleMania. So, obviously 30 years, 30 different showcase matches, 1-to-1. Are you not helping me here? 30 years full match list. Why the hell is it going? Oh, Jesus. Okay. So apparently we got more than 30 matches. My memory's ass. So apparently, according to SmackDown Hotel, shout out to them, there were 47 matches. So there's one per Mania until 17. No, 11. Jesus. Okay, never mind. Some had duplicates, like WrestleMania 9 had 2 matches, WrestleMania 11 had 2 matches, 12, so on and so forth. So you got 47 in total. Now, this is where, like I said, the speculating. It doesn't specifically say, it just says the greatest matches over this time. I don't want to be negative, but does that encompass all of the WrestleManias? Or is it just going to be pick and choose, like, oh, obviously Hogan Andre from 3, which we've seen footage of? Is it going to be Stone Cold Bret Hart? Is it going to be HBK Undertaker, which we saw footage of that one? I don't know if we saw Stone Cold and Bret. Is it going to just be picked and choose matches here and there? Because, obviously, WWE, they only have, I don't know why I put we, obviously only have certain members under their roster. What do you do with people who are signed to AEW or other companies? We'll just go with that. What do you do with them? I don't know. And I think that'd be pretty difficult to get them in the game itself. You could obviously do other matches, but if they're part of the biggest match of that Mania, it gets a little tough. And a lot of people online were speculating, like, what do you do with, I think WrestleMania 37 was the big one in question, which was Roman, Edge, and Daniel Bryan, and then it was Bianca and Sasha. Like, you only have Roman, you only have Bianca. What's the big match for 37? I think that was the specific example people are using. So it's going to be interesting to see what people do here, or what 2K throws at us. Obviously, with people who aren't in any specific company, I'm sure they could talk with them. Obviously, we see the different legends that make their appearances. But that's something we'll have to keep an eye on. It's a cool announcement. It's very exciting. It's fun to see it after the 10 years, obviously, from 2K14. But this is one I'm scared might not deliver and might be just like, it's really cool, but doesn't live up to the expectations, if that makes sense. Still think it's a fun idea. We'll just have to keep an eye on it. Not to be super negative, but we'll have to see. So along with that, we got, let's see, iconic roster. Yep. Sorry, just circling back before we keep going with the different types of announcements. The announcement trailer was really, obviously, exciting and fun. Oh boy, looked a little rough graphically, I'm not going to lie. Gameplay looks exactly the same from the limited that we did see of last year's. Granted, I get it. People don't change all that much. You're not going to make leaps and bounds. It's similar to the NBA games. Like, what are you going to really do? I was kind of hoping, in a way, they would leave last-gen consoles in the past to focus on next-gen. I think that's where the next leap will be, if you can put all your resources to that. But they are still supporting both consoles, both the Xbox One and PlayStation 4, along with next-gen PS5 series. So you'll still have that option. They are doing a, if you buy like the higher up ones or the current gen, then you get the past gen. So if you wanted to, like, you don't have the next gen experience right now or systems, you can play on your PS4, Xbox One, and eventually cross-play into that new generation if you made that upgrade. So, excuse me, I don't think we'll see a big graphical change until, unfortunately, we cut that those systems. But, you know, more players playing it, that's the most important thing. And there's a lot of good additions here that they are making. As I said, a lot of shakiness here, not just that gameplay. That was just my thing of like, oh, it looks exactly the same. They really CGI'd some stuff here. Oof. Man, it did not look good. Cody walking on a ramp, that looked gross. They kind of did this thing with the finish the story narrative that they're doing. They had Hogan talk, they had Austin talk, they had Taker talk. In my opinion, Hogan didn't look... He was fine. Austin did not look great. And then Taker probably looked the best, but also the lighting probably helps him. It's dark. You can hide a lot more in that. But just something small of like, maybe we could have taken a little bit more time to clean this up. But it is what it is. Sorry, the nitpicking. It is what it is. It's more the other stuff that matters. All right, so we talked about Showcase. So along with those teases of imagery, we were speculating of the Showcase stuff, or the internet was. We were also talking about match types. I talked about the referee shirt. They put out like a knight armor. I think those are the two big ones in terms of match type. So we are actually getting 4 new match types. We are getting special referee back, ambulance matches, casket match, that was another image, and gauntlet match. Those are all making the return. It's been a while for a few of these matches. I think gauntlet might be the closest to being like the most recent, along with special guest, but apparently ambulance hasn't been around since 2010 SmackDown versus Raw. Casket match, I couldn't tell you. So cool that we're adding those in. I think even more exciting thing out of this, and it's a small thing, but I think it goes far in terms of presentation. The referee shirt imagery was a double 2-for-1 type thing. We get the match. We're also getting 7 real life referees actually now in the game with their likenesses. So no more just kind of like kind of Charles Robinson and this kind of guy here. We're gonna get actual referees in there, which I think is great. I think we've only seen, oh boy, her real name I think is Daphne. I don't remember her referee name. One moment. WWE referee. Let's say. Yeah, real name's Daphne. What the fuck? Is that it? Maybe it's just her. Okay, anyways. She's in it. We've seen her character model. Looks great. Excited to see who else is in there, but that's just a fun thing. Like I said, it just adds more to the presentation. This has led to, once again, a whole lot more speculation. I don't know if it's the fandom setting the bar too high with, are more commentators going to be in, or rather ring announcers? Are we going to get Mike Rome on SmackDown? Are we going to get Samantha Irvin on Raw? Are we going to get Alicia Taylor on NXT? Are we going to get those 3? It's the internet, it's Twitter. Everybody goes crazy and pulls all little things, and it's like Charlie Day with the strings trying to figure out, oh, well, they replied to them, and they got reposted here, and this, that, the other thing. If it's there, awesome. Like I said, obviously it doesn't change anything gameplay-wise, but it adds that extra layer of, like, presentation, and I think that just adds another whole layer to this cake that's going to be fun. So let's talk about the new match types and improvements, or rather read what they said here. Players asked WWE2K24 delivers with 4 new chaotic match types, including special guest referee, ambulance match, casket match, and gauntlets match. In addition, Backstage Brawl now features 4-player support and interactive environmental elements, including a working elevator, breakable control room glass, and a vending machine with throwable sodas. While the Royal Rumble now offers support for 8 online players and 30 Superstar online matches, all of the familiar WWE 2K match types such as War Games, Extreme Rules, TLC submissions, Hell in a Cell, and many more return. More details to be shared soon. So cool. So I haven't been one really to try out the backstage stuff. I've just seen gameplay clips here and there. But to have more freedom and fun stuff involved is great. And I'm curious to see what kind of tweaks, especially with War Games being the new big addition last year in terms of match type, what kind of tweaks they figure out or made for this game to try and make it better. Gameplay upgrades. Okay, so this is just generic stuff that they've added. 2K24 features improvements to gameplay throughout, including super finishers. What the hell is that? The trading blows minigame, so we get the boo, yay, punches back and forth. Top rope dive into a group of opponents outside the ring. Double title matches, so title for title, both on the line at the same time. New paybacks and much more. New weapon types including trash cans, guitars, and microphones, plus the ability to throw weapons, allowing players to bring the pain. Also, 7 real WWE referees are featured to add immersive experience. So, we get some fun stuff there. I have no idea what super finishers means. Obviously, you have the cinematic stuff, the double finishers that they've had in the past. I'll be interested to see what that means. I don't know how often you're going to use it in moment-to-moment gameplay, but same with the trading blows thing. Is it going to not overstay its welcome, but is it going to be something that interrupts too much after, like, oh, the not nostalgia, the initial response to it, like that excitement wears off? Is it just going to be like, oh, we're going through this? Like how some of the Royal Rumble mini games kind of felt, is like not super exciting. Is it going to hold on to it? Top rope dives into a group of people. I'm excited to see how that works out. Hopefully physics wise and everything looks decent, but that's fun. Double title matches is huge, especially for the next section we're going to talk about. And then paybacks and stuff I don't have too much experience with, at least paying attention to it. So, hey, whatever. Big one. Let's talk my GM. Okay, so popular WWE brand management simulation continues to expand with new GMs and brands to choose from. More match types, more dramas, more championships, talent scouts, superstar trading between brands, superstar contract management, and the new superstar journey, which allows superstars to earn XP, train, and level up to gain new benefits after participating in matches. Ooh, I'm so excited to dive into 2K24's GM mode. For those of you guys who don't know or don't watch, this is where I put most of my time, whether it's playing on my own or playing with Papa Griff. It's a blast. It's always a blast jumping into GM mode. I'm glad they brought it back, and to see it's actually getting the love and care, put behind it, and not just like a passing glance of like, yeah, it's in there, whatever. I'm excited for this. If you go to the 2K page itself, ECW is confirmed, as it is in the background of Breeze's shot here. So we're going to get the ECW brand, which we were kind of talking about for hopes and stuff. So I assume Paul Heyman's going to be one of the GMs that will be added. So awesome stuff there. Now I'm curious about the other stuff that they're, obviously adding to this mode. More match types, great. More dramas. I'm curious if this is just a different way to build rivalries that we already had. Is there going to be more email interaction with the superstars? Stuff like that. Championships, great. We didn't have the... No, we had the mid-card titles. Was there something that we were missing? Because we had U.S. Intercontinental. We had that added last year. Maybe you can just customize it a little bit more? We'll have to see. Talent Scouts is interesting. I'm curious if that will just be taking what the recommendations were for like your draft. If it's taking that, having like a Hurricane Helms, for example, or a Road Dogg, if they'd be like, oh, here's so-and-so in the free agent pool. We think they would make a good fit to your roster because of the class, or, you need something filled or something to enhance your roster. I'm curious what that will be like. Superstar trading between brands. This is a fun addition just because we haven't had that since 2K has implemented the mode, so you can trade between, whoever. Superstar contract management. That one's an interesting one too, because at least so far in 2K's GM mode, obviously the first one, 22, you only had the one season. You signed on your roster, the draftees, you signed them for a full year. And then from there, everybody else that you acquire was either 5 weeks, 10 weeks, somewhere in between. Could be full-time as well. 2K23, we had the same idea, except it was a full redraft once you ended that season, heading into the subsequent seasons, right? So with contract management, I'm curious how that's going to work out. Is it going to be like the SmackDown versus Raw days, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year? And then you get more of a mix-up if you come back to the draft. Maybe not everybody's in the draft pool again. You have people who are still signed for X amount of time. Obviously with the 3-month stuff, like more contract management on top of that. Contract cards are going to be huge, if they even still are doing those, or if they're changing those up. So excited to see what that entails. Hopefully they keep adding more options to players, like we talked about with last year's mode. They had the 3 different salaries you could start with, and then like if they're going to play around with that a little bit more. I don't recall. But that's fun. Might be a little more stressful. I'm not going to lie, but excited to see that. And then the biggest one, the new Superstar Journey, allowing us to earn XP. This was I don't know if we talked about it on air. If we talked about it while recording. But I remember Papa Griff and I were talking while we were playing of like microphone skills. That's just the biggest example I can think of. Like, I have a level 2 star mic promo skill. If I put that person in promos, they're kind of shit out of luck. They, it's really sink or swim. They're probably going to sink. There's no benefit for me risking putting this person in to do promos. But this seems like if we put them in promos, potentially they could get better at promos, and then we can yield those results, kind of investing in. It does say new benefits participating in matches. I hope that's the same thing. Like, or you can send them to a promo class. Like we had in 2K23, you had the stamina, like, not talent scout, but like physical fitness person. You could send a superstar to there, regain their stamina. And then you also had the movie deal, which like, oh, so-and-so's popular. They won't be available for 3 weeks. You get a bunch of money. I wonder if it's going to be stuff like that. Like, hey, go to this training camp to get better your promos. Go to this training camp to, I don't fucking know, improve their stats overall. But that sounds fun because it makes it a little bit more strategy of like, okay, this person on my roster isn't doing super great. How can I benefit or grow them rather than just be like, cut your losses and try and gain somebody who is better at those skills but is probably more expensive. I think that also helps for the free agent pool. For those of you guys who don't know, they have the free agents there, the generic superstars, the enhancement talent, the jobbers, whatever you want to call them. They're not real people, and they're just people that 2K has created and put in this mode. I usually take those people out and I'll put in current NXT superstars that haven't made it onto the roster, or I'll swap the roster so the NXT talent is down there if they haven't got called up to the main roster. This could be another opportunity, whatever your roster is of that free agent pool, grow them up. Because if so-and-so, like, oh crap, I'm just trying to think of one of the names. Karen Compactor, I think that's one. Shout out to Up, Down, Down. There you bring her in, her popularity is like a 20, like, you build her up to be more of a mainstay, main superstar, main wrestler, in comparison to just using that one card that like promotes them to your roster permanently. Improving them with this experience, this superstar journey, that could be great to kind of elevate a lot of people instead of just hammering or chipping away at the promo, or putting them in matches to try and hope they get popularity even if they lose. So this is probably the mode I'm most excited for, but granted, once again, it's where I put the most time into, so that makes sense. We got my faction. Team building mode in which players collect, manage, and upgrade an array of superstars and legends to create, their ultimate 4-person factions. Returns with a direct purchase card market, updated multiplayer experience. Players can now compete, blah, 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 blah. Yep. Same stuff as it's been, just some revamped stuff. Now, I think the big thing with my faction, it's not on this article per se, but it was posted somewhere. It seems like we might have been heard with our complaints. We'll have to see, once again, how it plays out. There's potential that things we unlock via the whole in-game purchases, real money purchases, those attires will become available outside of my faction mode. Previously, it was all locked in that mode. You're just using Seth Rollins with his white SummerSlam gear or whatever in that mode. You can't use him in exhibition, whatever. It seems like there may be a new twist, I think was the phrase used, to use it outside of my faction. If that's the case, hell yeah, let's go. My faction, I know, is hit or miss. It's very repetitive to me, so I haven't like sunk my teeth into it fully. But that will definitely be a big motivator to be like, play this mode. You can unlock more stuff to use outside? Hell yeah. You know, I'm not going to be dumping cash into it. If you do it, whatever floats your boat, whatever makes you happy. But if that is available now, to have those unlocks available outside of the mode, like I said, it's going to be more enticing for players to play. My Rise makes its return. We got 2 new storylines, Undisputed Men's and Unleash the Women's. Put players in control of custom-created superstars looking to make a name for themselves and cement their legacies in WWE history. I don't know why I said that so weird. Featuring Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, Mick Foley, and others performing voiceover for the first time, alongside other superstars and legends, expanded rewards, original My Rise characters, unlockables, carrying over into other game modes, new environments. My Rise is more impactful on overall 2K experience than ever before. To be honest, I did not dive into the past 2 years worth of My Rise. I heard decent things about 2K23's with the more focused storylines of the men and women's, you know, branches, but haven't delved into it, so I don't know exactly what you can unlock in there. I know like Ezekiel was in there, Molly Holly was in there, I think Triple H as not Paul Levesque, excuse me, as Hunter Hearst Helmsley, like Fancy Man, I think he was in there. Knowing that these now carry over into other game modes, once again, more enticing. Should give it a shot. I know the year before that they had old characters for, like, Dominic Dijakovic was in there, King Booker was in there, King Corbin was in there, and I believe initially those were locked behind My Rise. I think eventually they were like, oh, there's a lot of flack here, we'll release them. Can't recall, or if I just download them off created Superstar Creations. But I'm glad they're still diving into it. I know a lot of people have had fun with this last year's iteration. We'll see how it goes going forward. Another one that personally I don't play a lot, but I know a lot of people do with creating their stories, is Universe Mode. Ultimate Universe Sandbox puts players in charge of superstar rosters, feuds, championships, weekly shows. Premium live events now features an expanded rivalry actions, including run-ins, Money in the Bank cash-ins, scenarios, brawls, as well as new cutscenes, special guest referee support, double title matches, and loser leaves town stipulation. So we get some more addition there. Like I said, I tried it out this year with the Superstar mode. It's kind of like a career mode, but using the in-game real superstars. If you'd like to, you can still use a custom one. Never fully hooked its teeth into me either. But cool. More additions for those people who play that. And then we got the Creation Suite, the 2 big ones that are being added. You can now create a referee, and you can now create a sign for the crowd. So if you want to do that, go nuts with that stuff. All right, so we got the 3 editions. You got standard, 4 editions. Standard cross-gen, deluxe, and 40 years of WrestleMania. So, what do you get for pre-order in these son of my guns? So, going into it, pre-order bonuses. Players who pre-order the WWE2K24 Standard Edition will receive the Nightmare Family Pack, bonus pack of content including 4 playable superstars, 2 alternate versions of Cody Rhodes. You got Undashing and Stardust. You get those 2. You'll also get the 1976 version of his father, Dusty Rhodes, and one of Dusty's greatest rivals, superstar Billy Graham, this is his first appearance in the games like ever. I think he was in Legends of Wrestling back in the day, but yeah. You get my faction content for those guys. You get a bruised Cody Rhodes gold rarity card. And for the first time ever, Cody's dog Pharaoh will be a manager card. So you get a little fun pack there, similar to, I don't remember what the pre-order bonus last year was. Bad Bunny? I think so. So you get a little bit more bang for your buck if you pre-order. You get 4 people along with the stuff there. If you go deluxe, what do you get with deluxe edition? You still get the same pre-order stuff. You will also get the season pass with all 5 post-launch DLC contents, the My Rise Mega Boost, boost your character, Supercharger, unlock all the stuff, Well, unlock most of the stuff. Gold rarity cards for Rhea and Bianca, and alternate attires for Bianca and Rhea, which I believe, I don't recall if they said what attires those are, but you get that. So what do you get for the big one? The big NWO pack thingy from last year, or edition. So 40 years of WrestleMania edition. Whew, it's going to cost you a pretty penny. In addition to all the bonus content included in the other editions. This includes alternate attires for Macho King Randy Savage from WrestleMania 6, Rey Mysterio from WrestleMania 22, Triple H from WrestleMania 30, Charlotte Flair from WrestleMania 33, and Rhea Ripley from WrestleMania 36, as well as gold rarity My Faction cards for each of them, instant unlocking of all showcase characters, and this is the big one that I'm actually like, oh, that's pretty cool. The WrestleMania 40 Arena at some point later post-launch. So, you can get the Season Pass, which gets all of the generic unlockables, like your superstars, your championships, your arenas. And then this one gets all of your showcase unlockables. So, like the Beta Cena mode was RVD and Batista and, I don't know, all these other guys. So that's what you get for the super mega pack giant thing, if interested. So, a lot of cool things announced for this year's game. You know, still a lot to see. Obviously, this is very tip of the iceberg stuff of like early release, early announcement. We'll have to see with time and as we get closer what details are going to come out about the showcase, about gameplay, about all these additions. Just checking my notes. Punk. Let's talk about CM Punk, because where's he? Is he going to make the game? Is he not going to make the game? Some people are speculating he's going to be part of DLC. Obviously, we haven't seen him yet. Timetable's a little wonky. He just got back for Survivor Series. That's a tight window. You want his character model to look great as one of your top people. We'll have to see. He seems like a huge name to put in DLC, but that's more of like, you know, you can't help it. It's more of a time thing, not a name thing. So he could be the driving force for the DLC of like, oh, you get the season pass, you get CM Punk. Who knows? Some people are saying it'll be the very last DLC, which by rollout would be August? September? I'm trying to think back to when the last DLC came out for 2K23. You know what? We have the power of the internet. Let's look it up. WWE 2K23. Oh, God. I can type. Season Pass. La, 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 la. August. Okay, so August was the last pack. So, could be there. Also, Mr. Wyatt. Bray. Totally fine with the ladies being on the cover here. That kicks ass. I think Bianca being the first woman of color also to be on the cover is great. I thought they were going to do Bray like a kind of, not Legends thing, but like an homage to him, put him on the cover for the deluxe edition, kind of how they've done with other superstars, Legends of the past. Not that they've been dead or anything, but oh boy. I thought that would be something. You do a Firefly edition. But apparently they're going to do some kind of homage to him or something, you know, to celebrate his life in this game. So I'm interested to see what that entails. If it's just obviously including him and Uncle Howdy and all that stuff, we'll have to see. If Cena's tease with the NWO shirt and the pirate flag is to be believed, then that could be one of the matches in the showcase mode. Do the little cinematic match. How does that work? I don't know. They didn't fight all that much. We'll have to see. And then the last thing I had for notes is they did announce at the Royal Rumble, so as of recording this Saturday, they do have their hands-on preview events. A lot of media creators or content creators have gone public today saying, oh, I got invited to it. So we will see some gameplay starting. I believe they can start publishing on February 1st. So we'll have to see you know, what they get their hands on, what they can test out, all that stuff. I know they definitely had a lot to reveal for 2K23 last year, so excited to see that. I think Woods was also filming stuff this past Tuesday, so maybe he'll have some details about GM mode. But yeah, we're downhill from here. You know, we're just heading into March. We're heading into Mania season. So a little over a month, maybe a month and a half away from release right now. So yeah, news is just going to be coming out. Like I said, biggest things I'm interested to learn more about. My GM mode, number one, roster, duh. You know, you want to know who's in this thing. They claim 200 or over 200 people. Obviously insane. So excited to see that. And then just the showcase mode. See what we're getting ourselves into. Who were they able to get legend-wise for the past Manias? Is it going to be every Mania? Is there going to be repeat matches? Or not repeat matches. Is there going to be multiple matches per Mania, similar to 2K14? What were they able to get here? Yeah, just exciting times. Looking forward to jumping into it. We'll be grabbing my copy or pre-ordering my copy rather soon. So yeah. Fun stuff. Let's move over to topic 2. Kind of flip the script here. Go a little negative, I guess. Let's talk about Marvel Burnout. So I was thinking about this lately, and it's always been a discussion point, I know, amongst a lot of people, of just like, oh, Marvel's doing too much, and are people going to get Burnout with all the films and all the movies and TV series and all that jazz? And I was like, I don't know. I think for a while I was kind of in denial of that happening. Like, I could understand what people were saying about it and could see where they're coming from, but I wasn't sure if I would ever reach that point. I think I have. Granted, could it be other factors? Could it be me, life, depression, whatever? Who knows? Definitely could be that. But lately I've been kind of feeling a bit down on, or at least not being super excited for some of the Marvel products coming out. Obviously, if you've watched this podcast before or listened to it, you know we've had our discussions in the past about Phase 4 projects, Phase 5 projects, and had our criticisms about some of them. I'm looking at you, Doctor Strange. That was a big one. Thor, Love and Thunder. That was another one. There's been some that just haven't fully connected. And it's weird to say because, you know, still go and watch them. Still enjoy them for the most part. And there's definitely have been cool moments across some of these films since we've gone into the multiverse saga. There's been good moments. It just seems like lately, with more, or as these projects are coming out, the excitement level leading into projects hasn't been as, what's the word, palpable, I guess. And I'm trying to be fair and think about back to the Infinity Saga, right? And I'm trying to think of, like, as those movies came out, Captain America's, your Iron Man, your Thor's, your Guardians, etc., where was the hype level? Where's the excitement level at that point? And I can't, it's tough because I want to say, like, the excitement level wasn't like, oh my god, I'm at the edge of my seat, I'm waiting impatiently for any of these films. I think once we got towards the end of it, certainly, you know, that rise, that build had gotten to that point. But it was also this long narrative ahead of it, and build that eventually got us to that point, right? Of like, we're ready to see what's going to happen with Infinity War, leaving where we did with Infinity War to go into Endgame, that year break or whatever it was. It was earned. It was built up to. Could this just be a situation of the same thing where we're in the build right now? Build, and then we'll eventually get to that finale of this multiverse saga of the Secret Wars and whatever. What was the other one? That there was two big ones, right? I think they're doing a 1-2 punch similar to, yeah, there's an Avengers 5 and then there's Avengers Secret Wars. So it seems like they're doing that 1-2 punch again. which claims that's going to be 26 and 27, which in reality, not that far away, but seems like it's ages away as well. So I don't know if it's just thinking I'm burnt out or thinking the excitement is gone, you know? I don't know. So obviously with the first saga, we had that build of the Infinity Stones, and we get these little teases, plot points like, oh, here's the Space Gem. Oh, here's the Reality Stone. Oh, here's the Mind Stone, blah, blah, blah. And then there was all this speculation of like, what's the Soul Stone? What's that? Is it Heimdall? Is it this? Is it that? Blah, blah, blah. And with this build of the Multiverse Saga, like, we've had teases of Kang, obviously. We might be going a different path with him now, if at all, which is a bit rough. We've had teases there, but it doesn't feel like, at least in my experience, it doesn't feel like this big build yet. There are still, like I said, I still get excited when seeing these teases and the stupid sounds wrong, but the after credits, like, it's that little cheap pop, you know, oh, excitement, and then you go away from it. I'm curious where the disconnect is. If it's just certain projects haven't delivered, and maybe it's just the higher expectation, or whatever it is. So with Phase 4, Black Widow we enjoyed. Didn't really make sense for Widow because, well, Widow's gone. Spoiler alert. Shang-Chi was a great time, and it was good in its own little bubble, but I don't remember where it left off of, like, teases. I know he talks to Wong or something like that. Eternals, what does that matter? Once again, another tease at the end, but how does this connect all in? Spider-Man No Way Home was a celebration for everybody. We're not going to lie. Let's get all 3 Spider-Men together. We're going to party. Woo! And we got all the villains. That was great. But once again, doesn't tie in. Multiverse of Madness. We get some exciting moments. We get a lot of negative moments. Thor Love and Thunder. Too hard on the comedy, in my opinion. Wakanda Forever. A nice little reset for Panther. But these are all very separate. And then you're like, Bret, Infinity Saga was the same way. Captain America was doing his thing. Iron Man was doing his thing. Thor was doing his thing. A lot of he movies, you know? Stuff. Like, everybody was doing their own thing. But why does it feel different now? Papa Griff puts in chat, could it be that the movies were a one-shot story continuation that required your 2-hour investment, whereas the series are multiple shows requiring more investment for the same or less payoff? So, no. You're good. And that could definitely be part of it, is now, sounds like a wrong term or a bad term, we now have extra credit or homework to do with the series. This is a perfect transition, Papa Griff. I appreciate it. Is it the series that is on Disney Plus that's adding this extra layer of weirdness on top of it? Is it the homework of like, oh, well, I gotta go watch Falcon and Winter Soldier to know what's going on with these characters. Now I gotta go watch, WandaVision to know what's going on with her. I gotta watch this one. I gotta watch this one. It definitely could be. There's so much going on at one point where it feels like you're drowning, I guess. And not to say these projects aren't good, because they are. Obviously, we were all on board with WandaVision. We spawned a whole separate podcast because we were breaking down episodes on this podcast about WandaVision. It was fun. It was exciting. Loki's been great. I know that first season was a bit of a build because of exposition, but that was exciting. I'm looking forward to Daredevil. Granted, didn't watch all of Netflix's Daredevil, so there's homework there. She-Hulk was entertaining. Moon Knight was good. What If I really enjoy because it is those separate little stories on their own. But then there's others that feel, and I'll have to bring up a list to see if I want to make sure I'm accurately saying certain ones. Like, none of them were bad. It's just like we said, it's a lot to take in. And I'm curious if that's what it is. It's just the pile on of content. Hawkeye wasn't bad, but meh. I loved Miss Marvel, so sorry I forgot that one. I thought that one was great. Those middle episodes, though, bruh. That wasn't good. But it led to the Marvels, which I personally enjoyed once again. What has Phase 5 got us? Secret Invasion, Echo, this is where this whole thing is kind of led into. I still haven't watched Echo, and that's 2 weeks out now. I have no, like, motivation to go watch it. Not a little bit because of the character, not, like, herself. Like, it's another character of, like, I don't know much about you, so it's hard to get invested in you. Nothing wrong with the premise. It's just, is that a part of it? Is it just the amount of content? I don't know. But yeah, I haven't had, like, this inkling of, like, yeah, I should go watch that. So there's that. And yeah, if we compare it to the Infinity Saga, with Papa Griff talking about, you know, the movies and the continuation there, if we compare the two, if we're looking at Infinity Saga, first film was Iron Man 2008, right? The last film was technically Spider-Man Far From Home, which is 2019. That is, what, 22 movies? Let's count real quick. That's great content. We'll say 22. That's 22 movies. Sounds like a lot. In an 11-year span, right? Then we're going to, you know, the Multiverse Saga. And if we're just going to do... Okay, let's do... Because they have the titles here for when it ends with Secret Wars, right? 27. Oh my god, yeah. So that's that span of Phase 4 to Phase 6 is 2021 to 2027. That's only 6 years. Whew. So, you know, obviously we're condensing this a bit. So maybe that is it. And that's just the movies. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6... 6 movies in Phase 4 with 8 television series. Phase 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 is 5. Does not say how many television series. Oh, sorry. This phase will also include a total of 7 seasons. And then Phase 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Doesn't say, obviously, there. TV programming. So, yeah, there's a lot more content in a short amount of time. So... I guess that's it. Just too much in one time. Let it breathe. And I know that's hard to do when you're building up to a Secret Wars where we're like, oh, let's get all these people back. You know, let's get Captain America in here. Let's get Iron Man in here. Let's get them all together. Yeah. Like, it's hard to do because the more you put off, obviously, you know, people age. Not that that's the end of the world. People pass away. That's really unfortunate. Like, you can't do this cool thing that you wanted to do. I get it, but oh boy, I'm feeling it. Papa Griff also in chat. Was the intent of the series to fill in blanks in the main stories, or were they just extensions and get to know you better for characters? So, to my knowledge, it seems like it's more get to know yous. So, there's been a lot of characters that they've kind of introduced for the first time. Granted, there's also been ones they've kind of extended on. So let's take Phase 4, for example. So Phase 4 had 8 series. Out of the 8, I'd say half of them are new characters. You get Hawkeye with Kate Bishop. You get Moon Knight being Moon Knight. Miss Marvel with Kamala Khan. And you get She-Hulk. 4 new ones. Then you had the 4 kind of continuations, like, what are these guys doing in between movies? You got WandaVision, you got Falcon Winter Soldier, you got Loki, which is a different Loki than our Loki, so you could get in that gray area of, like, it's a new character. And then the What If series, I'm not really going to count it. It's new characters, but it's all hypotheticals that don't really tie in to the other stuff. It's just like, we have the alternate timelines, the multiverses, this is what's going on, and all of their things. Like, so it's kind of like, yeah, it doesn't really tie into anything yet. Does Peggy make an appearance later? Technically, yes. Will she be back for more? Maybe. So you get that weird gray area. For Phase 5, if we're looking at this, so let's go with the new characters. Okay. Echo. Let's see, it gets tough because I don't know. So far, it's only one that's new, and I guess you could be like, she was in Hawkeye, so is it really new? But we're kind of delving into her outside of the movies, you know. Secret Invasion was continuation on Fury. Loki's obviously a continuation on Loki from the first one. What if? Agatha is a continuation from WandaVision. She was real popular. Let's give her a series. Eyes of Wakanda. No idea who's that about. Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man seems like it's an animated project that's totally separate from everything. Same with Marvel Zombies. Daredevil Born Again. Character we've seen multiple times, whether it's the Netflix series, Spider-Man where he's a lawyer real quick, She-Hulk where he's like, hey, how's it going? Then he gets his own series. And then Ironheart, which, excuse me, she popped up for the first time in Wakanda Forever. So this is kind of more of like, I guess it's learning about her, but it's also continuation. So that's, yeah. So at least to start off, it was half and half. So yeah, I guess it's just more the amount of time between the saga, I guess, is the biggest factor. Once again, if we go back to Multiverse Saga, from the first movie to the last movie, that's 11 years. Phase 4 to 6, 21 to 27, 6 years. Obviously, you know, half the time. Now I get it. It's a little rough with the whole Disney Plus, and we need content for our streaming service, and we got to make this engaging. It's tough. It's tough of like, not where did it go wrong. That doesn't sound like the appropriate phrase to me. Is it too much, too little time? And the answer could be yes. It's just like, where did the wheels go off? Is it just the higher expectation that we have from the payoff we got in Infinity Saga, you know, War Endgame, that stuff? Is it just the high bar we've set? Is it just a rebuild? Is it just the amount of time that's being spent in between stuff? I don't know if we can pinpoint it to one, like, that's why I burnt out. That's why I'm feeling this way. It's just interesting. It's just interesting that I've kind of noticed it more and more of, like, it feels that homework feeling of like, oh, you gotta watch this one. It's not, oh, this is fun kind of thing. And like I said, there's been fun moments throughout the projects from Phase 4 and 5. Like, the No Way Home one was great. Multiverse of Madness, like I said, popped when we got the reveal of Krasinski, and we got Peggy in there and stuff. And then Guardians 3 was great. Really sad, but it was great. Marvels I absolutely loved. Am I going to go see Deadpool for all the dumb references? Probably, but that's another one I'm like, you know, like, I want to see where it goes, but I feel like the excitement's not there. But once again, I don't know if that's fair in comparison to Infinity Saga. From the moment to moment, like I said, once we got towards the end of it, the excitement was there. But I don't know if it was there. No, because, yeah, Avengers we were really hyped for. Winter Soldier was amazing. Civil War we were all really looking forward to. I don't know. Not to go off the reservation, but any idea how this compares, or how you feel it compares to the mainline Star Wars? There's extensions with Mandy, Obi-Wan, and the new one, I forget her name. Oh, Ahsoka. Same kind of thing or different? It's simply a race for content because of streaming audiences. That's a big thing. Yeah, it's mainly like, this is our streaming service. We need to drive customers here. How do we get them here? Let's make content for it. And I get that from a business standpoint. That's a fair comparison, I think, with the Star Wars stuff. Now, granted, I would say my Star Wars fandom has been less than Marvel fandom. Granted, you know, in comparison to others, I don't stand up to, you know, the real comic book people and all that jazz. But, like, Star Wars has been another one, yeah, for me, like, I'm very behind on it. Mandalorian I was behind on, absolutely loved it. But those series and shows, like some of them was like, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Still haven't delved into it. And Star Wars, I'm very behind on. I was excited for, you know, I was relatively excited for the new sequels, or sorry, the, what do they call it? Whatever Rey's trio of movies. I don't remember what they call it. I was relatively excited for that. You know, enjoyed the first one, episode 7. Episode 8, we had a very lengthy discussion with Kevin on in a previous episode of like, oh boy. And I have to go back and watch it again. Have to sounds bad. I would like to go back and watch it again to see if my opinion has changed. And then I did enjoy episode 9 for what it was worth. Were there some goofy stuff? Yes. But yeah, the shows, even with Star Wars on Disney Plus, I'm very behind on. Once again, Mandalorian loved. Boba Fett, haven't started. Obi-Wan, I wanted to, because Obi-Wan actually is a character that I enjoy. Haven't watched it. Ahsoka seems interesting, and a character that I know a lot of people love from the animated series from back in the day, and the Clone Wars and all that jazz. Haven't tried it. And for fans of Star Wars, like, big one, Mr. Badbit. He's a huge Star Wars fan. We talked about his Star Wars fandom also on this podcast. Like, he's all about it. He's like, dude, these are awesome pieces of Star Wars. Like, these are awesome pieces of Star Wars work. And Dave Filoni, I believe, like, he's doing amazing things, and Favreau was working with it. Like, they're doing great stuff. But yeah, that's another thing. I'm just like, and I don't know if it's because the difference in fandom of, like, my Star Wars fandom isn't as high as the other ones. But yeah, that's another one. I'm like, yeah, like, they have other projects too, Star Wars, like the Bad Batch, I believe, is an animated one, which I don't know how they all connect. I feel the live action ones, Mandalorian, Boba Fett, Obi-Wan, Ahsoka, like, that's the main Star Wars canon. I don't know how these animated projects like Bad Batch, and there's another one. Andor's another live action one, which I've heard is very good, but sugar, I don't remember. Like, do those tie in? Are they just fun projects in the Star Wars universe? I don't know. So yeah, it could just be that. It's a weird double-edged sword. Like, oh, I'm happy you're rewarding your fandom with, like, more content and love TLC into these projects. But then, yeah, does it just become a question of, like, there's too much and oversaturation of it? And it could just be regular burnout. I mean, not to revert back to wrestling for a moment, but there's a lot of wrestling out there. People face wrestling burnout. People face burnout in all different forms and fashions of things that they liked. Is it just like, nah, you gotta step away from it a little bit and then kind of rediscover that love for it? Maybe it is. And I think this year, circling back to the Marvel stuff, maybe that'll help. Deadpool is the only movie that's coming out this year. There's still a lot of series, so, you know, maybe just got to pick and choose there. But maybe that distance between films will help with the excitement again. After Deadpool, the next one's Captain America: Brave New World, and then you head into Phase 6, technically, with more introductions to new characters, with Fantastic Four making their MCU debut, Thunderbolts, which is a culmination of characters we've seen before, but they're, you know, not in the spotlight. Blade makes his first appearance here, other than his voice, you know, popping up in Eternals. And then, yeah, we go from there. I guess it's just to go back once again to the build of Infinity War, right? We were still getting new characters towards the end. Black Panther was new. Captain Marvel was new. Doctor Strange was new. Those are Phase 3. There was 3 new people. Spider-Man. Well, I mean, yeah, he got introduced in Civil War. So 4 new characters. And you're still doing that with Phase 6 of new characters right at the end. But at least we had these team-up movies prior. You had 2 Avengers movies, and then Civil War technically being the beginning of phase 3, you had these phases you were seeing a lot of, right? Going into Avengers 5, allegedly, in 2026, I don't know who we're getting together. Like, there's so many people at play here. Who's going to be in it? And I get it. Like, Secret Wars is all these multiverses crashing together. I get it. There's a lot of characters at play there because there's so many universes in play there. But maybe it's hitting different because Infinity Saga, there was like this tight-knit of people that we knew and were caring about. You had like your original six Avengers, you know, their story throughout this thing. You had the Guardians, you know, their team up, like, and then you get to Infinity War and you're seeing how all these characters, what happens to them. Like, I don't feel like we have too much of a connection with some people here. Like, Spider-Man's probably going to be a big one. Doctor Strange, we've been around for a while, and Thor. But the rest are kind of just here. I guess Ant-Man as well. And you could say Bucky and Cap. Okay, there's other ones, but there's no... They haven't come together yet, and we're not coming together until the end. And it's like, their connections to each other, it's weird. I don't know. But all these were needed for Infinity War, so that made sense. Yeah, so right now it's like, how does everybody fit in? And it's going to be one of those things like, oh my god, the end, it was so great. Like, is it just that building phase that we don't know? It's all a build now. What is it that is in build? That is what's next. There's no working main story anymore after that. As far as we know, no. Yeah, it's just, we're building to Kang, unless they change things up now with the whole Majors thing. Recast or not use the character. Yikes. We had the build of the Infinity Stones and Thanos. Right now we technically have Kang, but it doesn't feel... It feels different. We've seen the multitude of Kangs talking. We've seen different versions of Kang. He got his ass whooped in Ant-Man Quantumania. We saw him in Loki Season 2, or at least timely. How do we get that to that, and how do we get everybody together and synergized? I don't know. It's a weird thing. Like I said, maybe once we get to the end, it'll be like, oh yeah, it was perfect the whole time, the build. Right now I feel lost, and maybe that's leading to the burnout. It's just, yeah, to be honest, it's tough to build to another climax. That's true. Like, Infinity War and Endgame was such a good payoff. You have the Avengers moment at the end. You have Cap with the hammer. You have, obviously, Thanos in the big fight. You know, you have the time travel, let's save our friends. It's tough. It's a tough follow-up. Like I said, expectations are high. So, I don't know what they're going to do. We've talked about that before, of like, that was a good finish. We could have just went whip, but money. I guess. I don't know. But yeah, just wanted to vent about that a little bit. Just being like, where headspace I'm at of like, man, this is something I used to like a lot. And now, not that I dislike it. It's just like, is the fire still there for it? I don't know. Star Wars, you've had the back and forth on who was on top. Marvel was, good guys won, except for the booping stuff, I guess. Oh yeah, the snap and the dusting. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we only had that one back and forth with Marvel was Infinity War. You end on a solemn note of like, oh fuck, we're screwed. And then Endgame, you know, woohoo, you get the hero's journey and all that stuff. And then Star Wars, you had that with episode 5 and 6. But there was more times in Star Wars where it felt like the heroes were fighting against a wall. Like you said, at least in any of the Marvel movies, like, obviously they hit those walls. That's the point of a 3-act structure, right? Build, problem, you know, you get it back. It just feels like, yeah, more often than not, they're at this good spot. I would say Eternals kind of left off, and Spider-Man kind of left at a negative tone of Eternals, like, oh no, if I recall the movie, our ally has been taken away by giant thingy, let's go save them. And then they're on a negative thing there, but they're chipper to go save the day. And then Spider-Man No Way Home, obviously Peter's lost Aunt May. He's broke. Nobody remembers him. His best friends. Like, kind of a shit out of his luck. It's like, ooh, you feel for him. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it is. But yeah, Burnout. It's happening. Who would have thought? This has been another episode of the Wait Or We Talking About podcast. My name is Bret, aka Enigma9011. You can check this podcast out live over on twitch.tv/Enigma9011. You can drop a follow over there. You'll get notified when we go live. You join the chat like TJ and Papa Griff did today. Join on the fun and discussion. But if you can't catch live, that's A-OK. Go over to YouTube and podcast services the very next week where it's broken out topic by topic and put as one big video in MP3 for your amusement on the following Friday. Last but not least, any way you are watching this, listening to this, whatever it is, if you could drop a follow, drop a subscription, whatever easy thing that you have on your platform of choice, just click that button. And it may seem small, but it does help the channel grow. So if you take the time to do that, we would love and appreciate you for it. Thanks for hanging out today, guys, for this episode. Thanks for giving it a watch, giving it a listen, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.